A lot of y'all come to the podium and y'all talk about things that you got no concrete evidence of. All the energy that you guys place into me, I wish you would pour that into yourselves.
Just like Trump, I'm going to come in on a landslide on both seats. Know that. Remember this moment when I landslide and come in for the victory like I always do.
More unfiltered chaos brought to you by Dalton. Again, was supposed to be a productive meeting turned into a brawl with officials throwing down over luxury car leases, lost village property, and a nearly $1 million settlement nobody understands. And to top it all off, the mayor's out here singing Trump's praises.
Yes, Trump is our president. You have to accept it. You have to deal with it. You have to live with it. People can be mad, be in their feelings, but guess what you cannot do? Take away his presidency.
This isn't a meeting. This is a reality show where everyone is fighting for airtime. So let's just get into it right now. The mayor kicks off by basically defending herself against criticism, calling out residents who dare to question her leadership. She actually refers to her critics as fans who are obsessed with her.
You have to give respect in order to get it. A lot of you come to this mic talking about nothing. And when I say nothing, you're talking about Tiffany Henyard. So that means that you really are fans of mine, and I appreciate that.
She thanks them for being her biggest fans, as if they're huddled in a line waiting for an autograph instead of real answers about the state of their village.
So that means that you really are fans of mine, and I appreciate that, because normally you will come up here and you'll talk about the business as it relates to our village. But not one of you talk about any business that it relates to our village, whether it's fix your street, fix your alley, maybe your street lights out, whatever the issues are, but you don't speak to that. You speak of me, the person, Tiffany Henyard. So thank you for being a fan of mine.
And then came the big moment, the mayor talking about Trump. The mayor of Dalton rolling out the red carpet for Trump, congratulating him on his re-election like he is going to be her savior.
Yes, Trump is our president. You have to accept it. You have to deal with it. You have to live with it. People can be mad, be in their feelings, but guess what you cannot do? Take away his presidency. He is the next president of the United States of America, 47th president. And our job as real leaders, just like Trump, I'm going to come in on a landslide on both seats. Know that. Remember this moment when I landslide and come in for the victory like I always do.
I think many of us understand that this is not necessarily a political alignment. This is about keeping her options open in case she gets caught up in a federal investigation, in case she gets indicted. After all, what better way to keep a potential pardon in your back pocket by cozying up to Trump? But then now we go back and forth between the mayors and trustees. They all know the basic stuff like why the village is broke and why they're running out of supplies. This is 2024, and we're talking about shortages of paper, pens, and printer ink here. And instead of answering the questions, the mayor shrugs it off and deflects it back to trustees, accusing them of lining their own pockets by prioritizing their own expenses, including mystery back pay and conference costs.
When we have water main breaks, they can't even buy supplies. They don't even have clamps to clamp the water main break. This is how bad it is, but they're not telling you because they're not paying the bills. They have to pay the bills, but they're paying themselves. They're paying their friends. They're paying the contractors. They got the lawyer on there this evening. The lawyer making what? What is it, McGrath, what, $139,000? But they say we don't have money. If we don't have money, you're making a way for your lawyer. You're making a way for your friends. You're making a way for contractors that didn't do village work.
The trustees shoot back, calling out the mayor for mismanaging funds. And at this point, with all of this dysfunction and chaos, you have to wonder if anyone's actually focused on running the village or battling back and forth, yelling about expense reports and pointing fingers. Now we're talking about the budget, the big thing that they keep going back and forth on. The mayor claims that the trustees are paying themselves and their friends rather than funding necessary projects. This spirals into a surreal budget blame game that feels less like local government and more like a particularly messy episode of a reality show.
The budget. I don't understand why we don't have a budget, just like I say any other time. We know that we're supposed to pass a budget come April, May of the beginning of this year. And still, it is now November, going into December, going into the new budget cycle. We should have already passed the budget. It shouldn't be we still working on it. It don't take that long to sit and work on the budget. You sit down, you agree to disagree, and you come up with a balanced budget or whatever you want to take out or put in. You do that, and you present it, and you move forward. But operate without a budget.
And that process will continue as well. Lastly, but definitely not least, I heard one individual come up here talking, referencing their bills. And right now we are working towards a budget. We mentioned that the board has received the draft budget and there are a lot of challenges with that budget. That being said, it is a task that we still must face. So we are continuing to work on a way that we can get our budget that will allow for back bills to be paid as well. We will honor all vendors that are paid, but I have to say it is going to be a challenging process.
They even talk about animal control. Apparently there's some stray dogs that are going around ripping people apart. That's even insane upon itself.
You know how many people have got attacked by dogs in Dalton? These all police reports right here. Police reports. People getting mauled to death. Did y'all know that in Dalton? These are reports that we got. But yet we talking about charging $100 for a loose dog, a pit bull. I'll give you a story. We was out running about what, 2 months ago, Will? 2 months ago. When I say a pit, was that a pit? What kind of dog that was? A pit was loose. Chased the mail lady down the street. She was screaming her heart out.
Now, the mayor wants hefty penalties, ranting about the stray dog problem. The trustees, however, want to lower the fine so residents aren't financially burdened if their pets slip away. And this is the real problem. The village actually has an $80,000 animal control vehicle that has been sitting idle for 3 years. But now they're going back and forth between who should pay this if this happens for the resident or not, while a high-cost vehicle just rusts away unused. And as if things weren't messy enough, there's a showdown over who gets to appoint members to the village electoral board.
When you file your petitions, we have to create a body as it relates. Okay, the attorney want to explain it.
Council, with all due respect, I advise the mayor that this is not.
You out of order, stop. Go ahead.
I advise the mayor, council, that this is not the municipal officers electoral board. That board is different from this board. This is the Village of Dalton's trustees board, right? The MOEB is a statute, is a creature of statute, according to ILS 510, 510, council. This is not that board. That motion should be properly addressed by the proper board.
Are we in comments, discussion?
No, we're talking, the attorneys was talking to each other as it relates to that it's an improper item on the agenda.
When Mayor Henyard is running, Jason House is running, the clerk is running. So for it to be no inconsistencies and nobody saying somebody did this wrong and somebody did that wrong, the purpose of putting this on the agenda is for the county to be the electoral board where they're not biased because of all of these people that are running are be there. So yes, you are the mayor, but if all of y'all are the people that's on the ballot, that would be unfair. So the purpose of this ordinance, and I'm sure if you read it, you would see that it's for the county to come step in so there will be no biases of anybody that put in any objections.
It's the drama over the electoral process that most village residents probably wouldn't even know existed. But at this point, everyone is just fighting for power, and whatever the trust the residents may have had in this situation is definitely unraveling. Then they argue about luxury vehicles, a $1.6 million bond, which is crazy. A trustee pointed out that the leases cost the village over $9,000 per month. Cutting these luxury vehicles, according to some, would save over $100,000 a year.
Durango that the previous chief had. If you tallied up just those 4 vehicles of the lease, it's $9,145 per month, which would save us $109,740 a year. $40 a year. So this is not any cars that's coming off of the street for the police. These are the other vehicles that were unapproved by the board.
So imagine that this village, struggling with basic supplies and a stretched budget, has been paying thousands of dollars a month for fancy rides that serve no essential function. And let's talk about the business leases issue. So trustees argue that they need to step in to make sure that businesses can actually get licenses because the mayor's administration allegedly takes 6 months just to process one.
We'll say prior to this administration, the board did not need to be involved in business licenses. This is the least business-friendly administration that I've ever seen.
That's right.
It takes businesses up to 6 months and they get no responses, no answers. That's the reason the board created this process. If the employees will do the job and make sure these people are followed up with and comply, we have no problem getting out the way. The board is not trying to oversee all this stuff. We're doing this as many other things because the job is not being done.
The mayor fired back, claiming the trustees were bypassing normal procedures, handing out licenses to their friends and homies.
All right, so right now you guys are impeding on the day-to-day operation. That is not your job. That is not your job to do, and you're impeding on the day-to-day operation as a trustee. Y'all job is to legislate. That's all y'all do. You guys cannot sit here and circumvent the process. The process is what it is as it relates to a business coming into our community. And if people get their stuff right, they wouldn't have to go through all of this if they make sure they do it right the first time. I have made videos and showed you guys of people going on fake news, lying, and I've showed you the truth. So that's just what it is.
Creating a process so burdensome that the businesses needed attorneys just to get a license. We're talking about gas stations here, not corporate mergers. If anyone's looking to start a business in this village, they might need to bring their lawyer and a crystal ball to get through the maze of approvals. And this probably is not the biggest surprise. Mayor Henyard wants her team hired, and she's going to do whatever it takes to get that done. The mayor tried to get her choices for village attorney, police chief, and other roles approved. Trustees rejected each of her appointments, citing a lack of background checks and missing qualifications. But the mayor doubled down, insisting her appointees were overqualified and accusing the trustees of sabotaging her efforts to restore order. So she announced, despite the board's objections, that these individuals would serve as a temporary appointments under state statute, a loophole that allows her to keep these people in place until the trustees finally cave.
Why go back down this same road again with not running background and not making sure that these people are qualified for the position?
First of all, everybody up here is overqualified for their position. So please put some respect on their name, like I tell you to do me. As it relates to us here, we are African American beauty. I'm gonna say that. And with that being said, we are great. You have an attorney to my left, and y'all don't want to give them the opportunity. This is Max Solomon. He has been practicing law for years. To my right, you have Angela Lockett. She is awesome. And this got to, because y'all need to stop playing with people's names. They are attorneys. That means they pass the bar and background check. They wouldn't be an attorney. And as it relates to anything else, as it relates to Ronnie Burge, all y'all know his credentials. You know he has been a police chief in several different locations. And as it relates to Michael Smith, y'all need to stop before he sue y'all for defamation of character. He does not, and I repeat, he does not have a background. Just because you don't like him, don't make it right on what y'all say about people. I'm entitled to my appointments, and my appointments will be who I choose it to be. Because I did that before, listening to a body of picking people that I didn't choose. Right now, these individuals will be my temporary appointments. I already named them, but I will rename them for record. And that is appointment of Police Chief, Ronnie Burge Sr., appointment of Village Attorney, Angela Lockett, Attorney Max Solomon for Special Counsel, and also Executive Assistant for Michael Smith. Those are my temporary appointments, which I am entitled to by state statute.
So what is going to happen? I have no idea. And then there was a $900,000 settlement that somehow is a mystery. So as this crazy show continues, a settlement agreement for nearly $1 million came up, and no one seemed to have a clue of what it was about. The trustees questioned the settlement details. No one seemed to be able to explain what's going on.
The attorney has a statement about it being from a federal judge, so I want to let him.
Okay, well, y'all probably should go to closed session because everybody down here is saying y'all should talk about it in the back. And I agree. I don't think y'all should put whoever business that is out in the open.
They agreed to discuss it in a closed session, a rare moment of agreement, but not exactly confidence inspiring when millions of dollars of taxpayer dollars are online. Let's talk about this case, Williams versus Dalton. Thank you to an amazing person who sent me this. This was basically an issue between, obviously, Mayor Tiffany Henyard and a couple of police officers, all allegedly ganging up on an activist, Camilla Williams, for having the audacity to protest. This federal case reads like a script for a movie where the small town mayor takes the role of the antagonist, allegedly ordering arrests to shut down voices that she did not want to hear. Williams, an activist pushing for justice after a police-involved shooting, claims Henyard and her crew didn't just ignore her. They actively worked to silence her by locking trustees out of the buildings, disabling Zoom chats, and even ramping up the presence of police in riot gear. What police-involved shooting I'm talking? I'm sure many of you are already familiar with the fatal shooting of Alexis Wilson that happened on July 27, 2021. The shooting became a focal point for activists in the area, including Camilla Williams, who organized protests calling for accountability from the Dalton Police Department and Tiffany Henyard's administration. Williams says Henyard called for her arrest simply because she was too vocal at protests. Not only that, police were allegedly told to target Williams and her protester friends, escalating to threats, arrests, and intimidation tactics straight out of a bad cop show. Even during peaceful protests on public walks, Williams says the police under Henyard's command treated them like criminals, shouting at them that they were going to get locked up. The judge decided to let the First Amendment claim stand, allowing Williams to pursue charges of unlawful arrest and retaliation. So you can see why Henyard probably didn't want to talk about this in public view. So as usual, it's more of the same. It was a pretty exhausting meeting, even for people watching it. I can imagine the people who are in it, the residents of Dalton. It's clear the village is struggling with budget issues, missing vehicles, overdue paperwork, dogs attacking people. It's drowning in a leadership crisis. The trustees and mayor are so locked in a power struggle that at this point, all they're doing is trading insults, going back and forth to court, and the residents are just sitting there watching in helplessness. Mayor Henyard is willing to do anything to not get in trouble, even if that means pretending to be a big fan of Trump. This wasn't a regular meeting. This was just another episode of a high-stakes dysfunction in government, where personal vendettas take center stage over any semblance of governance. What do you guys think about this situation? Did you watch the meeting? Give me your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I see you guys in the next video.